Fields of Mistria, the game everyone in the cozy community is playing. Or was. I'm a little late to making this video, but I still see the occasional really cute cow on Twitter that took probably 500 hours of gameplay to make pink, and it gets me really excited that I'm not the only one trying to live their best life in Mistria still. Kudos. Fields of Mistria is another Stardew game, which is a genre I'm really trying to make a thing, because why should Metroid be the only one that gets Vania games? Also, I know it should be Harvest Moon Vania, but that just doesn't flow right, and there's like a bunch of copyright issues because it's Story of Seasons and not Harvest Moon, even though they stole Harvest Moon, but it's not the real Harvest Moon, and it's Stardew Vania, okay? Anyway, from the outside, it's your typical farm sim. You have a plot that you need to clean up, crops to harvest, animals to feed, villagers to flirt with, you know, the usual. The story of this game is, I'm thinking hurricane, but now that I think more about that, that might be Coral Island. Earthquake. This one was an earthquake, which is why the farm and the rest of town is in such ruin, and by such ruin I mean a few cracks in the sidewalk. But it's up to you to clean up and decorate your farm while also upgrading the town, which in turn unlocks features and mechanics of the game so you can craft more recipes and progress the main story. From the outside, and a bit from the inside, Fields of Mistria is very much like Stardew. The inspiration is very prevalent, but how similar are they really? Before I get into how Fields of Mistria changes itself up from Stardew, I want to take a minute to change up today's dinner with today's sponsor, Factor. Get rid of dinner stress with Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat meals. No more worrying about what you're going to eat. With Factor's fresh, never-frozen meals, the chef-crafted food comes right to your door. These meals are incredibly quick and easy to prepare. Just pop it in the microwave for 2 minutes and get right back to whatever Stardew-like game you're playing that day, because Lord knows there's a lot of them. You can choose from 35 options each week, including Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, Vegan, or Vegetarian options. Not to mention over 60 add-ons also available to you. The snack options are a lifesaver. You can choose from a bunch of different breakfast options, smoothies, you know those babies are my favorite, juices, small bites, and more to keep you going and fuel your gaming obsession for the night. You can eat delicious food with a healthy conscience, knowing that Factor offsets 100% of their delivery emissions and sources 100% renewable electricity for their production sites and offices. Guilt-free food and no overpaying for food delivery services anytime I don't want to spend time cooking for myself. Really can't ask for anything else. Sign up for Factor today and get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders using my link. Click the link in the description or scan the QR code with your phone. If you do sign up, thanks for help supporting my channel. I appreciate it. Now that we're fueled from dinner, it's time to get back to the video. The Stardew inspiration. You really don't have to look far to see that Mistria and Stardew Valley are incredibly similar. I tend to fall off these Stardew Vania games quickly because most of the time I'd rather just play Stardew. Concerned Ape did everything right, for the most part. Why would anyone want to play a cheap knockoff when the original cheap knockoff is so much better? As a result, I tend to just find myself going back to Stardew instead of playing whatever new game is out. Why waste my time and money when Pelican Town is right there waiting for me to return? But I don't feel that way with Fields of Mistria. You've got your overgrown farm, you've got your villagers, each with different jobs and personalities and a weekly schedule, a small town where everyone knows everyone. You've got your daily quests, your mine shaft that gives you an elevator every 5 levels, chicken coops, barns. I guess at this point I'm just listing off everything that's in a farm sim, but that's where the similarities kind of stop between these two games. One of the biggest differences? The magic. And I know it seems like a really insignificant difference, but the spells actually add a lot to your gameplay. The mechanic changes up how you strategize. Even in the beginning when you only have 1 or 2 spells available to you, they do a lot for your gameplay. I'm struggling to explain why. I feel like you really have to experience it to understand. And it's not like it's anything crazy or out there or like absolutely game-changing. But it's a really refreshing take on the mechanics of a game that we've been playing for decades if we're counting Harvest Moon. It makes some tedious tasks way less tedious. Need a pumpkin for that quest, but you just planted pumpkins and you won't be able to harvest them for 5 days, but that limited quest you picked up from the bulletin board next to the general store is now completely useless and you've wasted your time? Not here. Well, in Fields of Mistria, you can use your magic and make everything grow instantly. If you have mana, of course. I like the way Mistria does the mana system. There are potions that will replenish your mana bar, but you do gain a little bit of magic back every in-game day, which forces you to be strategic with when and how you use your abilities. You can't just grow your entire farm whenever you feel like it. There is a strategy involved. You gotta think about it. Do you want to grow those pumpkins? Or maybe you save it for the mines so you can have all double energy bars when you go in there. One of the biggest differences between Stardew and Fields of Mistria, the JRPG elements of Mistria. The art style is a bit different, even though both utilize beautiful pixel art. You can tell that the NPC dialogue design is a bit more anime-inspired, but besides the art, Mistria is far more quest-heavy. There's a main quest line in Stardew, yeah, but it's more of an understood quest line. Find your way to the bottom of the mines, upgrade your farm, go on an acid trip with the wizard, complete the bundles. There is, of course, stuff to do, but Mistria lays out these main quests in a different way. Instead of just giving you a quest to get to the bottom of the mines, the game bakes these quests into the story. The NPCs want to upgrade a building in town, but to do so, you need some iron ingots, which requires you to get to a specific level in the mines, which has iron. There's more of a reason to go mining other than just making it to the bottom, for the sake of going to the bottom of the mines because someone told you to. Another example to unlock the mill in Mistria, which in turn unlocks more crafting recipes, requires you to get milk and eggs. So now I have animals for more than just the sake of making mayonnaise and cheese to make money. Like, I need these eggs to go make the mill so I can go make other things for part of more other quest lines, and it's a nicer way to do it. And I know you need some stuff for bundles in Stardew, but I don't know, maybe it's the fact that I've been playing Stardew for 7 years, but these bundles, they just don't do it for me anymore. Instead of unlocking new town mechanics from completing bundles, in Mistria you unlock them from completing quests. There's still a museum in Fields of Mistria that acts kind of more like a community center than a place to just throw everything you find, like in Stardew. But completing these bundles gives you rewards, like new clothes, furniture, and resources. Some instant gratification instead of giving you something like the minecarts, which is great for fast travel. I love the one that goes right to the mines, because way less walking around for me. But it doesn't really feel like a reward at the end of the day. Just something that you didn't have access to before, but then you did. More of a convenience than a reward. Does that mean the way Stardew handles it is bad? No, not at all. The game is incredibly successful. If Stardew handled the main quest lines in a way that people didn't like, those people wouldn't be playing. Personally, this is one area where I think Mistria improves on Stardew Valley. I literally never thought I would say that a game improves on something that Stardew does, but here we are. I have been convinced that Stardew is just the ultimate farm sim, but that doesn't mean that the way Mistria does things is objectively better. I just personally find more enjoyment in the productivity of completing quests in Mistria than the quests that are in Stardew Valley. And I think this reason is why a lot of people who couldn't really get into Stardew tend to like Fields of Mistria more. This new version is a bit more hand-holdy, but not in a bad way. Mistria is just as open-ended, but with a bit more direction. You're not completely lost or overwhelmed with what you're supposed to do next. You can do whatever you want, go fish, farm, progress in the mines, but you always have a quest to come back to. Speaking of which, another area where Mistria is better, the quest board. Every day you can pick up an NPC quest from the board, but these aren't limited time quests. You don't have 2 days to complete it. Those 2 days are incredibly stressful, even though there's really no consequence for not completing the Stardew quests. You just miss out on the rewards. Mistria's quests stay active the whole time. Some technically have a time limit. They require a specific item only available in a certain season, but you have way more time to complete these than 2 days. However, grabbing a quest every day can overwhelm you if you don't complete them as you accept more. Sometimes I just keep grabbing new tasks and then my log is just full of errands and whoops. Oh, I quickly want to mention combat. Oh, it's real nice. It took me a minute to get used to it. I wasn't a fan at first, but what I do like is the fact that each enemy has a specific way of being dealt with. You can't look at this mushroom or you won't be able to hit it, so you have to turn around at the correct time so it's not invincible, or this lantern that you have to run away from until its electricity runs out. Just another way variety adds to this game. Oh, and another thing. Leveling up the town. For some reason, this progress bar that shows up from doing quests every night is incredibly rewarding. You're always working towards something, and it gives you more of a reason to complete those quests from the board. I keep coming back to this part of the script to add more things that are different that I like. But right now, Endgame in Mistria is trying to get the cutest animal hybrid color. Yeah, you can breed different patterns and colors of chickens, cows, all the animals. It's so fun to see what colors you can make, and people have been sharing their discoveries online. It's a really fun aspect of the game that I don't get with many other games. It's kind of creating this whole Mistria community, and I really like it. Stardew struggles for me once I'm done with the community center. Sure, we have Ginger Island and some post-game stuff, but that's just kind of more of the same. There are some extra long-term quests that take a bit to complete, but after dozens of hours of playing, it feels like restarting, almost. As a result, I tend to take long breaks from Stardew and come back months later when I get the itch to play again, because we all know that Stardew itch just never actually goes away. Maybe Mistria will have the same effect on me, but right now I'm invested. I'll get back to you in a couple months when I probably inevitably fall out of this game too. But right now, I'm all for it. Overall, Fields of Mistria is way less intimidating. Coming from a streamer's point of view, it can be hard to initially get into Stardew, especially when sharing with your people. There's such a large, dedicated community tied to Stardew that sometimes being a noob is incredibly terrifying. Streaming Stardew and not knowing what the heck you're doing leads to a chat being frustrated with you, full of backseat gamers who have the best intentions, but come off in just not a good way, and overall, just not a fun experience. It's like trying to get into Minecraft. There's so much to do, and so much you have to know, so many hidden correct ways to play the game, and you know none of them because the game doesn't give you any kind of tutorial or any tips, and you have to kind of figure it all out on your own, which is a great way to play a game, but it's not for everyone. These are things you just don't understand if you haven't been part of the community for an extended period of time. But again, those hidden strategies kind of make the game too. This is one of the charms of Stardew. The game is so much more than it first appears. These are just more of the reasons why somebody who maybe doesn't like Stardew would find solace in Fields of Mistria. If you're one of those people that are like, farm sim's not for me, maybe just Stardew's not for you, try out Fields of Mistria. And the game's less than $15. So cheap today when some games run you like $100+. Looking at you, alpha access to Ashes of Creation. Fields of Mistria is still in early access. The game is nowhere near complete. I'm in fall of the first year and I've already completed the string of mainline quests. There's still stuff for me to do, of course, but I have slowed down my playtime because I don't want to finish all of the current content. So I've been taking my time and just enjoying the game. The devs have released a roadmap for future updates. I'm really excited for everything on it. The first major update scheduled for Q4 of this year, which is soon since we're halfway through September somehow. We're getting more villager romance options and heart events, upgrades to the mines, more town levels, additional skill perks that I didn't even get into in this video. You can level up your skills with essence that you get from performing normal actions in the game, but they give you perks like additional harvest drops, a cool AoE effect in combat, faster running, just so many perks. We're also getting more home upgrades, cosmetics, furniture, and more. Oh, did I mention how adorable the furniture is in this game? Oh, top tier, high quality furniture. Fields of Mistria is definitely different enough, for me at least. I don't get the urge to just go play Stardew like I do with every other farm sim out there. It has familiar mechanics that we're used to, but it takes them and it twists them in a fantastic way that just changes up your gameplay and it's a breath of fresh air. It's nice. Cozy games need to be a bit different. Stardew is as successful as it is because it took the best parts of Harvest Moon and completely revamped them. It's impossible for games to not have some kind of inspiration draw from. Most ideas have already been created. That's where genres come from in games. You can only do so many different things with a first-person shooter, but there are things that you can do different, and you have to figure it out and tweak them a little bit. I do highly recommend Fields of Mistria, even in its early unfinished state. I think it has a bright future, but we'll know for sure once these first few updates are released and see how they're handled. But I am very optimistic. Have you played Fields of Mistria? What are your first impressions? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye!